What would you say to other Masons who have never heard of Research Lodge, may not even know anything about Research Lodge? How would you entice them to join?
You know what? I like the question, Jeff. How would I entice them to join? And, one swallow doesn't make a summer, but it's Joseph Lambert you're talking to. And so I have a perception. And Brother Jeff, I was master 5 times between since I joined Mason, since I became a member of Research Lodge in 88. 88 to date. I was master 5 times. And you know what? I try to put my spin. I try to bring a lot of Scottish constitution into Research Lodge. But it is flexible enough to accommodate that. That's another reason why I like it. One main reason I like it. We're not really burdened by degree work. The esoteric work was what was important. The capturing esotericism was what was important. And the flexibility of Research Lodge that allowed me, that the ritual is a ritual, but the practice of Research Lodge was flexible enough for me to become master, flexible enough for me to introduce, as I say, the Grand Lodge of Scotland here, the perambulation, marching in, and there was opening ode, and I was this master. Got people singing the opening ode. That was almost funny. So number one is the flexibility of the beyond the ritual, the flexibility of the culture of the lodge that allowed me to do that. And then I have to say, it's flexible enough for people to try different things right now. You have now, I sit there as treasurer and I'm hearing, what is it to say? Oh, God. In the Scottish Constitution, it's the good of the order. For the good of the order is when you get up and you thank and whatever and so on. And then Research Lodge is allowed paying wages. That was a new concept to me. But this is the theme and the flexibility of what goes on here. That I could start marching in and singing as a master, and it accepted it. And I could sit here and I could hear, rather than for the good of the order, I can hear wages, just an item of the agenda. The same thing that good of the order does is what. So that flexibility is what I like. And above all, Research Lodge for me is a special lodge. And is a speaking lodge. We invite members are comfortable. But officers of Research Lodge, in Joseph Christopher Lambert's view, must be people who can speak. That's the kind of advice, and I would like to people who would not only speak, but
Go ahead and have a seat. Thanks.
And so that it's with the emphasis on esotericism rather than ritual work, then the purpose is to talk about topics. The purpose is to exchange esoteric views. And if you're a member of Research Lodge, my view, and you intend to be an officer or to lead in the lodge, I would be listening to see, no matter how good you are, make sure that you're a speaking person, not just ritual. You get a worshipful master, blah, 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 blah. I would expect to hear defense of emotion and that kind of thing. So I would expect a reading person, you like literature, I would expect that people will know what your thoughts are in the lodge, not just sitting down in a corner. And that is the advice. And if somebody asked me about Research Lodge, you think, Brother Lambert, I'd like to be a member, I would say exactly that and more. That we do not do rituals as a general rule, even a ritualist. We have a good social gathering, but if you want to move up, I'm repeating, you'll be expected to let your voice be heard. You'll be expected to give your thoughts and be flexible. And something I missed out when I was talking about it is flexible enough to allow me to do. Remember, I started by saying that, flexible enough to. There is a member of the lodge, an officer, who let it be known in writing that he would like to be in the chair. He'd like to put himself in position to move up. And I hope Nate will deal with it properly, because in Research Lodge, we do not have a beginning and start a line. There's no line in Research Lodge. You have to be in a chair, in a stall, before you go there. But it doesn't necessarily mean senior warden or junior warden. No, it doesn't. And I like, again, this is what the 5th or 20th time I use the word flexibility in the lodge. This is what I like about it. And I'm going to throw a little pitch here between Nate and Adam, the idea of squaring the lodge, making a circle at closing. But this is just Joseph Lambert. That's me. That's just me, and I have the last time I checked, I was not perfect. I'm hoping to be a better man, but I'm not perfect, but I know what I like to see. And if you ask me what I like to see, I'm going to tell you what I like to see, whether you like it or not. But I enjoy being a member of Research Lodge. And before I had a note here of a couple of them. Couple of the Masons that really impressed me, that really did, and one, as I said, was Glendon Jeffries. I mentioned his name at 87 Grandmaster. Another is Lyle Logan, Worshipful Brother Lyle Logan. I spoke to Worshipful Brother Lyle Logan last week, and telling him I was going to do this recording for the lodge. And he said certain things that I could not mention here, but we had a good laugh, and I remember him at Redmond when he was Grandmaster. I visited Redmond, and he was in a position to. Again, I walked to Redmond, and there's a Scottish Rite temple at Redmond, and there was a massive Masonic competition, and I showed up, and as usual, was the only black man around. Then, and Lyle came down and really greeted me and made me comfortable. So he stands out as one of the masters. But Roland Gleason, I have to close with Roland Gleason, the late Roland Gleason, and also Bill Oldham. But Roland Gleason, when I was to move from senior warden for the first time in 1994, to move to the east for the first time ever, Roland Gleason heard that the word, there's going to be a black man for the first time in Research Lodge being master. And he was so sure he wanted to vote. He was a member of Research Lodge. He came in October. The voting was still, he came all the way from Forest Grove to make sure he voted for me. But he had to make the trip all over again in November when the balloting took place. And I could see him sitting down, and the fact that he drove twice from Forest Grove, the late Roland Gleason, to make sure that he voted casted his ballot for me when I was going to move to the East. Those are things that impressed me. Greg Estell's father, other men that impressed me. And finally, the 33rd degree Mason, Scottish Rite, David O. Johnson, the late David O. Johnson. He was Master of Research Lodge too. He did wonders for me, just talking to me, and I remember putting his hand on my shoulder. I was in the West then, I hadn't gone to the chair. And, well, there's no secret here. Working and receive master's wages, travel in foreign countries. And then he took me aside afterwards and said, you know, Brother Lambert, Brother Joseph, in the ritual, travel in foreign countries does not necessarily mean physically going from one country to the next, you know. Sometimes the greatest journey you could travel is in your mind, moving your mind from one place to the next place. And so these are some of the men that I remember in Masonry advice. David O. Johnson, Glendon Jeffries, Quinton Estelle, Roland Gleason, Lyle Logan, and Bill Oldham. Some of the stalwarts that I thank for. Have I left out anything?
No, I think that's good. We can wrap it up there.
Okay.
That's great.